I think it's just through nursing you have so many moments that are draining, and that was the one moment that it just made you feel really good about what you did.
I think nurses are true heroes of the world. We do so much work that's endless, that you come into your job every single day not knowing when you're going to leave.
You see the stories on television about the emergency room and what nurses do there and what doctors do there, and you see the stories on television about what happens in the operating room and all this dramatic sort of stuff. But the intensive care unit is, the nurses of the intensive care unit are sort of the lost heroes of the hospital.
Everybody brings something different to the table, but we're all here for really the same reason, is to try to help people. So I've admired every nurse I've ever worked with.
Probably about a year and a half ago, a lady came in, regular lung surgery, and had just about every complication that can happen. So she was long-term ventilated, feeding tube. We had multiple times to try and get her out of the hospital, but another complication happened. She had her family had brought in tons of pictures, and through getting close with her and the family, found that she had a dog. That it was an afterthought, never knew probably for the first 3 weeks that she was there that she had a dog. Trying to brighten her spirits, we painted her nails, washed her hair, did everything known to us to just make her stay better, until I saw a picture of a dog, and I'm a dog lover. I started asking questions about how we could get the dog brought in, talk to her sister, talk to her kids. I actually took her upstairs with the help of respiratory. We went up to 4 East, I believe it was. I used the room for like 2 hours. The dog actually sat on the bed with her. She kind of petted him, and it was a really neat, a feel-good feeling to know that there was one thing that, you know, this pet could come in and see her, because she was probably going to never make it home to see him again.
I can't say the story any better than the daughter who wrote the story, Mary Ann. She actually submitted the story to me personally a year and a half after her parents were discharged from the hospital. So if I could, I would like to read the story because it's best in her perspective. Hello, Leanne. Every day you work with patients and their families who are in the most dire circumstances. Sometimes the end result is ultimate sadness, sometimes relief, and sometimes joy. Most of the time, you probably don't get to hear any feedback from people whose lives you touch. Andy and Mary came to your unit in great need. The retired couple have been driving on a fishing vacation when a semi-truck hit their vehicle and knocked them off a bridge, resulting in spinal fractures and other major trauma. Mary spent 2 weeks and Andy over 3. They had constant support from their family, whether they were aware of it or not. Most of that fell on me, their daughter, their favorite daughter, as Dad would say, which means their only daughter. The experience of my parents at UPMC Intensive Care was a nightmare for my mother and a blank for my father. I'm happy to say my parents still live in their own place, and if someone did not know about the accident, they would never guess what Mary and Andy had endured. They are amazing. I'm here to give you testimony of the magnitude of your work, both personally and as a team. I am forever changed as a result of the weeks spent in the UPMC Intensive Care Unit, and forever grateful for your life-saving and life-preserving work. You kept my parents alive and stabilized them for the long, hard task ahead. You kept me from falling apart in the process when the people I loved so much were suffering so much I could hardly bear it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Nurses are the true heroes of the world.
You know, nurses touch patients' lives in sometimes very profound way, and it seems that sometimes we just don't even realize the impact we have on people's lives. And this is just one story of many where a patient that was 92 years old during the middle of the night just couldn't sleep. She put her light on and she asked for a cup of tea, and her nurse realized that she was having some difficulties, so he made himself a cup of tea. His name was Jim Lasco, and he sat with her, and she did a life review. She talked about what a wonderful life she'd had and all the places she'd seen and the people she'd met. And after they shared their cup of tea, she said, "I think I'll go to sleep now." And Jim left and went back on his rounds, and when he came back, she had died in her sleep. So her son was coming in from Hershey to see his mom and hadn't made it there yet. So when we called him and told him that his mom had died in his sleep, and I told him about the last tea party, and that just touched him very profoundly because tea was very important to their family. And he realized that his mother had had some comfort in her last hours of life, and that just meant the world to him.
On November 28, 2009, my daughter Maddie was admitted to the Montefiore Hospital's transplant intensive care unit with acute liver failure and renal failure caused by acetaminophen poisoning. Her only chance of survival was a liver transplant. Her condition went from bad to worse, and we were told that even if a liver became available, she may be too sick to receive it. That's when the amazing TICU nurses went into action and were determined to keep her alive until a liver became available. The way they worked together to go above and beyond the call of duty to care for her, not only physically but mentally, was overwhelming. Because someone was generous enough to donate the gift of life, Maddie received her transplant on December 1st. During the 9 weeks we spent in the TICU, we were blessed with the wonderful nursing staff and grew to appreciate each and every one of them for the unique and special qualities they possess. We would like to take this opportunity to thank these outstanding individuals. On March 22nd, Maddie was discharged and is home and well on her way to a full recovery. We know in our hearts that Maddie is alive today, thanks to the unrelenting devotion of the amazing TICU staff.
We don't often see the good that comes out of an accident or the response, so to hear a letter like that from a family member is what nursing is all about.
I think UPMC's made me a better nurse.
I can't see myself working anywhere else. It's an exciting place to be. There's always something new happening, and you can spend an entire career here and never be bored.
I feel that that the focus is on quality and safety and patient care, and so the support that they give me really helps me to do a better job.
I feel supported as a nurse. I feel supported through my boss, and then on up the line.
It's a family. It's a lifestyle. It's just it's my life.
Why would you not want to come here? It's world-class health care. You can have a career from the beginning of your career to any professional area of growth. You can stay within the UPMC system.
It's definitely not just a job for me.